World's top astrophysicists, Dr. Berdyugina was here. She is looked at as a world expert in how the universe works and in exoplanets. She does TED Talks and is well known in astrophysics circles.
Out there in the universe. And the Earth is just one of them. In this universe, we are really tiny. We put Earth in the center of the universe. Then we realized something wrong with it, so we put the Sun in the center of the universe. Again, it was a little mixed. We put Milky Way in the center of the universe. Not so bad. And we found out in the end that there is no center of the universe. Our planet is just a single blue dot among billions of other stars and billions of other planets. We use these plants as prototypes of photosynthetic organisms in the universe. And then we build models for alien lives, how they could look. And when we puzzled with this question, how aliens can look like, we actually find answers in the backyard. When we detect life on other planets, we will understand and learn that we are not alone. And we are not special.
I wanted to interview her, but how? I thought about it and I created an alias, David Howard from Oxford University Media Society, and created some online material supporting this front. After some well thought out, tricky and delicate emails, I got the appointment, and with the backstory that I was collecting information for young students at Oxford. As I waited in the lobby of this advanced university astrophysics centre, I could see that this was a business, with funding, hierarchy, secretaries, etc. Now before we get into the interview, for those new to the channel, know that gravity is just a theory, and my blog in 2015 explained the errors with gravity, and that it can be explained away by density and buoyancy. This blog had over 50,000 views, with not one person debunking it. Also worth knowing is that in 1931, a book called 100 Authors Against Einstein was published in German, and is in the description. This shows 100 scientists stating Einstein was leading science into pseudo-mysticism, abstraction, and speculation. It was crushed by mainstream science. Also know of the Dunning-Kruger effect, a cognitive bias in which experts mistakenly assess their cognitive ability as greater than it is. It's related to the cognitive bias of illusory superiority, and also comes from the inability of people to recognize these experts' lack of ability. Obviously in this interview I couldn't say what I really wanted to early on, as I didn't want her to walk out. I wanted her to cover more subjects and get more answers. So take a seat and buckle up, and this gets more interesting as it continues, and presents a big key, one the truth community has needed for a while. Okay, let's play. Yeah.
Okay. And this doesn't go to unedited somewhere. You will edit this?
Yeah,
somehow?
sure. You can swear or go to the toilet or whatever, it's fine.
Okay.
Sure. Hello, Dr. Berdyugina. If you could just spend 1 minute or 30 seconds explaining who you are and what you've done.
Yeah, so I grown up in Russia. I fell in love with astronomy, first with physics and then with astronomy. And I realized that I want to understand the universe. I cannot live on Earth without knowing what's above my head. I just felt like I need to know. I went to the university, studied astrophysics and mathematics, lots of programming, because when we were studying astronomy, we were told that astronomy is not just science by itself, it's very interdisciplinary. So to be an astronomer or astrophysicist, you need to know physics, mathematics, programming, and I must tell right now, lots of social skills.
Yeah, sure. Great. I have a couple of questions about the moon. I'm sure this is just an error with NASA. This is a famous image called Earthrise, but there's a problem with it because the Earth's too small. Okay, Moon viewed from Earth is this size, and Earth viewed from Moon should be a lot bigger.
Well, Moon size also changes through month, and through years, because orbit of the
apogee, perigee.
Yes, orbit of the Moon is not exactly circular.
Sure, but the Earth should still be a lot bigger than it is in that very famous image.
I didn't compare it, but we have to. I mean, in principle, one has to calculate what was exactly distance at that time of the picture, and then calculate the size of the Earth from that distance, angular, and then...
I've had some physicists do the maths on it, and they said it is a big error.
I see.
It's very interesting.
Yeah. Well, this is like to the stories, maybe they were not there.
This is interesting. Some people I know were measuring the moon. They're interested in space and the sky. The moon was photographed at the same time in Australia and Florida. How would that be? How's that possible?
Okay.
And this can be repeated in different sides of the globe, shall we say?
Yeah. Well, they are definitely upside down, so that's...
It's rotated,
yes,
yeah.
You can, I mean, with respect to each other.
But the same phase.
Oh, well, it's the same phase, yes. Why should it be different? Because the phase of the moon depends on the sun.
Because one of these locations shouldn't be able to see it. So on the globe, say the moon's here in Florida, the guy in Queensland shouldn't really be able to see it.
But this is a full moon, close to the full moon.
Close to full moon.
So this means that there is an angle at which it's seen. So full moon means that the Earth,
opposite.
Yeah, the moon is opposite to the sun. Yeah.
But still, with the globe, with the Earth being a globe, it shouldn't be able to see them both at the same time. And this is being repeated. This is an anomaly that some people can't work out.
If somebody does it, so it's possible. For me, it's like this, you know. You cannot say me impossible if somebody does it.
Sure.
So then I say it's possible, and then you can ask why it is possible. Then I do calculations.
Yeah.
So I would say you cannot argue. If this is not a fake news,
I can verify this.
You know, if it's not a fake news, then you have to say, okay, interesting, it's possible. I would like to understand why, and then maybe it's possible only a few times a year. You know,
it could be done daily.
Daily, okay.
Even with just after new moon.
Then it's fine. You know, then it means that moon is far enough from Earth that in a close to the full moon, you can see it like from the front and from the edge.
In the model, there's a model software called Celestia. Yeah, you know Celestia?
I don't know. Yeah, there are many.
It's a mod. Yeah, there's many. It's a 3D model of the solar system. When you put this date and time in, you shouldn't be able to see the moon from both places. So there's a problem somewhere. So probably model is wrong. I'd say. This is for me, as a scientist, we're always like, okay, there's a puzzle, there's observation, which is true data, and there's a model which cannot confirm the data. And I'm sorry, the model is wrong. So you would say direct experience is the king. Yes, absolutely. I agree with you. Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree with you. If this is possible, like you... The data has to match then the model is wrong. Then your program probably... Because that's science. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, with the moon, it does this other strange thing. On a solar eclipse, you know where... Yes. Coincidentally, the sun and moon appear the same size, which we're saying is a coincidence, yeah? The moon does a shadow on the Earth, yeah? Now, this shadow is 100 miles wide. Yeah. This is the only phenomena in our experience here in this reality where the shade is smaller than the object casting it. So you can do 1 million experiments with shadows. The shadow's never smaller than the object casting it. And here we have the moon, it shrinks its shadow. The people I speak to just can't work out why this can be. Why? It's something I can't get my head around either. Because it should be this is thousands of miles. This is a parallax. Yeah, so this shadow and the toy is long way from the light. Okay, the shadow is decreasing. No, it's not. It's always the same size. It can't go smaller than the object casting it. It says tiny shadow. This word here should really say same size shadow.
Yes, it can. If you do it from the top, then the shadow is very small.
There's another image somewhere. So think of sun and clouds. The clouds will always cast a shadow bigger or the same size as the cloud. There's no phenomena in this reality where, say my pen, can we get the light? My pen, and the light comes on my pen, the shadow can never be smaller than the pen. Or my bottle. Say the sun's out today.
Yeah, but look, if the sun in the zenith and you are standing under the sun, your shadow is much smaller than you because it's from the top.
Okay, say the sun was right above my head, like the solar eclipse.
Yeah.
The shadow would not be smaller than my head. You with me?
Yeah, the cross section. Yeah.
It wouldn't go smaller than my head. So say I was 50 meters up in the sky, and the sun was right above my head, and it went on me. The shadow on the ground would be the same size or a little bit bigger. Mm-hmm. This is the only phenomena in our reality where something creates a shadow smaller. This is a problem.
I don't think it's a problem. Maybe you caught me on a spot, but I have to think about it. Yeah, some of these questions are I don't solve every day.
Sure. This is why
I have to think about it.
But this is science. This is why we question things.
Absolutely. I mean, this is a problem. I don't think this is unexplained. I'm sure it is explained. I have to think about this. Yes.
This is a quick question a friend wanted me to put in. He said, with the lunar lander, there's one rocket. How would that land with one rocket when the spacecraft is asymmetric? Like we haven't seen on Earth a craft landing. I mean, the SpaceX one they say lands, but that's very symmetrical. So it's a very asymmetric lunar lander. Yes. Surely we'd have seen that being tested on Earth, or we'd see things now.
It's jumping. Yes. Did you see the movie of First Man? It's called. How he practiced, I mean, in the movie, he practiced landing on this. Okay. And it was jumping like hell, like this. And he said, I will practice until I make it, so it's probably some also human skill involved in there.
Maybe a bit like when they did a manual docking with the ISS.
Yeah, it's all, I mean, this Apollo 11, it's all manual. If you go to Smithsonian, it's shocking. They use the calculator smaller than we use in our... 4 kilobytes memory. Smaller than we have in our telephones right now. It's all manual.
Yeah, and they had when the lunar lander took off, they filmed it. You know that piece of footage? The lunar lander takes off from the moon and they created a film. It was like a 10-second film of it taking off. And my friend asks, who filmed it and who... How did that?
They left probably cameras there. That's fine.
And then went back to get them.
No, they get through radio pictures through radio. Yeah.
So in the 1960s, they sent videos, digital videos, back across space.
Well, it's radio. So let's say they can take pictures.
But they only had a 4K memory lunar lander, and now you're saying they had like a 20 megabyte ability to capture video. This is a strange one.
Come on, we have pictures from the missions.
But as scientists, we can't take pictures as proof, can we?
I don't know what was the technology, but in 1960s, this is 69, okay? So there were already missions to Venus, Mars, also lunar orbiters existed. They all sent pictures. Pictures from the back of the side of the moon were sent before.
I, as an independent journalist, I can't use pictures as evidence because we can watch a science fiction film, and they've got great pictures of space.
No,
you know?
No, come on. Pictures is data. Pictures is data. So, of course, you can fake pictures. In our time, 21st century is unique. We fake everything. So, I don't think in 20th... Well, of course, you can fake also all the times, in 15th centuries as well. But if somebody... I mean, this is unethical, again, yeah? So... I mean, first approach should be like, okay, you have picture, this is data. I look at it.
Yeah.
And if I have questions, I will ask, how did you get this data? Yeah, and the person who claims that this is a data, he has to provide all the materials.
That's
to
true.
prove that this is real data.
That's true. And with the moon mission, they said 2 years ago they've lost all the data. You remember that? They said they've lost all the data. Because some people went to say, oh, can we study the data? Because they had some questions, like I have. And they said, oh, we've lost it all. Can't find it.
This is also, this is another force called government, okay?
Things get a little shady sometimes.
Yes. Sometimes governments want to hide things, we know this. And they can say we lost it instead of sharing them, for instance. I don't know. I looked at pictures of the lunar orbiter, for instance, of the surface of the moon, and there is clearly lines and sides there. You can tell me that, oh, that picture was faked, and that's why when you look at the data, the lens inside is there. You can tell it's possible, yeah, that somebody faked that. But it's also, then, of course, in this case, I can say, all right, some data faked, what can we trust here in this universe?
You would say it's healthy to trust photos and images from bodies like NASA?
Well, what can we trust then? I don't know. I mean, if we question everything,
then we end up crazy, maybe. Yeah,
we should hold on something,
Yeah.
And NASA, I think, safeguard its reputation. I would say, trying very hard. And all of us, all scientists do that. But when the government is involved, I don't know what happens. So that I can imagine that there are forces saying, like, we don't want you to share this data. Sure. And then the scientists are constrained. Yeah. And then you can call it unethical from our outsider point of view. But for those people who work there, this is maybe a threat of life,
Sure, sure.
And so it's a controversial thing.
Yeah, because NASA is a government agency.
Yes, exactly. So yeah. I don't know what they hide. I cannot prove or disprove because I'm an outsider.
Sure. Two questions about the space station. I think a year ago they had some cracked glass on the space station due to space debris. This was put all over the internet and mainstream media, but yet they still did spacewalks a week later. Would you think that's a bit dangerous to do if you're getting the screen cracked by space debris? Surely if you're an astronaut, you'd be like, hey, I'm not going out there next week because my spacesuit, I'm going to die. There's a good chance of dying.
Well, this space debris is being tracked. Not everything is known, but there are telescopes on the ground which tracking these little specks in the space and calculating their orbits. There are catalogs of this space debris, and they are like not homogeneously distributed all over. There are like packs of them, like in that, remember the movie Gravity again? Like they say, oh, it's coming, like this is space debris from particular mission, and it's true that they are distributed unevenly. So there are some dangerous times and there are not so dangerous.
Do you think they're just brave astronauts?
God, it's another force. You have to do things, it's your job. And of course, I'm sure the government takes all possible care that people are not damaged there. But if it's a job, you just do your job. Yeah. You given the order, you do your job. I think this is
military style. Yeah.